Hey, what's happening guys? I'm ika.himee and welcome back to my channel. So I decided that I was just going to do another draw session. Things have been a little bit busy and there's currently a trend which I'm sure like pretty much everyone is well aware of at this point. And I'm trying to hop on that because fun fact, Mario is probably like my favorite series of games, and I haven't played every single game. Like, it's probably going to be impossible for me to ever do. Not to, but like I do really enjoy Mario, and I think it was one of those things where it was kind of like it was really my first real game. When I was younger, I guess, like around the time, I never had a Game Boy Color. My first Game Boy was actually the Game Boy Advance SP, so I was kind of late into getting into games. But like, when you're younger, the games you pick out are not necessarily the kind of games that you would be into when you grow up, like how there was like the Cats game and hamsters and like Nintendogs, like shit like that, and stuff that I wouldn't really be into right now. But Mario, I think, was like really my first real game, and I think that the first one I played was actually the Nintendo. God, what was it? It was Mario 64 for DS, so it was like the remastered version of Mario 64, which thank God it was remastered, because from a visual standpoint, I don't think I could have played, I don't think I could have easily played Mario 64. Like, a lot of people love those games, and I think the games are probably like really good, but as far as like graphics and stuff, we've definitely come a long way, and I'm a lot happier with the direction that we're in now, because back then it was just it's not good. The graphics were just not good. And I can't judge too harshly, because obviously it was a long time ago and you kind of deal with what you have. But now that we have better I can say that I'm not really into the style of the Nintendo 64 games. So playing the remastered version was a lot more enjoyable for me than I think playing the original Nintendo 64 version. I still haven't I haven't beaten the game. I'm not a very good gamer. I don't play a lot of video games because for me, I love video games. Like I watch Game Grumps like all the time. I play video games here and there, and I really do adore video games. But I always have like work to do and stuff. So I'm always working on art because I need to spend my time productively. And for me, when it comes to stuff that I like that, whether it's a video game or like an anime or something like that, I have the too much gene. I don't know if you guys know what the too much gene is, but basically the too much gene is when you take things too far, to an excessive extent. And that's basically my entire life as far as the things I enjoy go. For the most part, I would not say that I suffer from the too much gene, but when it comes down to like video games and anime and cartoons, I definitely have the too much gene, and I want to consume all of it, and it's a really tough balance. So instead of trying to balance it, I just kind of don't do it. I just kind of focus more on work instead of doing the fun things that I would really like to do. Now there are times that I will just go and play video games because, you know, that's what I want to do. And if I feel like I have the time to do it, or if I really do need a break from work, then it's a good idea. But I really do have to kind of closely watch myself because it's very easy to get sucked into like a video game rabbit hole, and I'm just like, I need to play this game like all the time. But as far as like me not finishing the, you know, Mario 64 for the DS, I have to say I don't like as many like open world, multiple ways to go about things kind of games. I think that as far as gaming goes, I need a little bit more structure because I'm honestly terrible at figuring stuff out. As far as video games go, I can usually improvise in real life, but sometimes in video games, I get stuck very easily if it's just a very like open-ended game. And if you're familiar with Mario 64, then you know it's kind of like that. It's like you have your stages, but everything is pretty open world, where it's not a side scroller like a lot of the Mario games were, and the early Mario games and Super Mario. It doesn't mean that I don't enjoy playing it. It's just I have a much harder time figuring it out, and so when I have a hard time figuring something out, it's a lot easier for me to stop playing it. But yeah, so that's the reason why I haven't finished that game. But I do enjoy the Mario games very much so. You know, open world or side scroll, it doesn't really matter. Can you even consider it open world? Does that count as open world? I don't know if it does. To me, it kind of does because I'm used to side-scrolling Mario games. So, to me, it kind of counts, but I mean, it is still very structured and like linear, so I don't know. I'm not very good at like the game, how you would classify different games. I really don't know. I know that Breath of the Wild is considered like an open world game, and that is so cool, and I would love to play it, but I also feel like if I did play it, it would be like the same thing and I would just get frustrated. I would have fun with it though, like making all the things, and I mean, as far as Zelda games go, Breath of the Wild is probably my favorite, visually speaking. I mean, I really like how Zelda looks in Twilight Princess. I think that she looks like really, really good. Like her design, everything is just everything that I adore. But as far as like the game aesthetic, Breath of the Wild is 100% it for me. And I wanted to do some art for Breath of the Wild, but I never really got past doing that one Link chibi that I did forever ago. I was gonna do like Zelda and stuff, but I don't know, I never went back. But I really enjoy the whole concept of the Zelda games, but for some reason I never played a Zelda game, and I don't know, I think some part of me feels like I would hate the Zelda games, like playing them, but I honestly don't understand how I could hate a game that, like, every time I see it and I'm like, dude, that's cool. Like, I don't know, it's like a weird thing that I have. I don't know if anyone else feels that way. But, I mean, Zelda is like such a huge game, you know? Everyone really loves the Zelda games, so maybe someday I will give it a shot. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, in general, I don't play a lot of games. Like, my last, like, huge console, like, that wasn't a handheld, was a PS2. So if that tells you anything about how much I game like not at all. And even for that, like the games I had were just random bullshit, really. I don't even remember what I had. Like, I think I had a Pac-Man game, which was fun as shit, but I never finished that. I used to never finish games. I think the first game I ever finished was actually Kirby's Dream Land on the for SP Game Boy Advance. Yeah, I think that was the first game I ever finished. That was my favorite game for a really long time. That I think was, yeah, that was definitely before I played Mario, pretty sure. But it was straight up like my favorite game, and I just adored everything about it. And I think I beat it like 3 times. That's how much I loved it. But I've never played another Kirby game ever. So I don't know. It's like, looking at it now, I feel like Kirby is one of those things where it's like, I enjoy Kirby for the nostalgia of Kirby. Like, I think Kirby is adorable, but I really only think that as like remembering how much fun I had playing it when I was younger, and I don't know that I would really have that much fun playing it now as an adult. I don't know. I mean, I think it's a very cute game, and I think it would be really nice, like a nice, relaxing kind of game to play, you know, to just kind of like unwind, I think, where you're not like focusing so much on like plot and all that. But I just don't know. I do not know. I never got another Kirby game. Most of the games I got were secondhand games from the pawn shop where my dad worked. So I never really had a lot of new games. It was pretty much just like whatever came into the pawn shop I would get. And it wasn't always all that much, but so I never really had like a lot of games. There were very few games that I bought new. I think most of the new games that I got were actually for the Advance SP, and even that, it was only like a couple of games, like maybe like 3 of the games that I had for it, so maybe 4, I'm not sure. But most of the time it was just kind of like secondhand games. Although now that I have a 3DS, I get new games, so I actually want to get more games, even though I haven't beaten all that I have. I haven't beaten anything that I got for it, because that's how I roll. But you know, it's a video game. I like playing video games even if I don't finish them. I don't know. It's about the journey, right? It's not about the end. It's not about the destination. It's the journey. So I'm completely justified in never finishing video games. Okay. But yeah. So anyways, I guess I should, I don't know, say a few words about this. Should I? I'm sure you all have figured it out by now. But I'm drawing Boozette. I don't know what her official name is. That's what everyone tags it as, but I don't know. I don't know if they gave her like an official fandom name that's not Boozette. I know that some people call her Queen Boo, but I don't like it. I don't really like that. But you know, like Bowsette works so well for Bowser. And I feel like Boozette just kind of is like whatever, but Boozette is cute as shit. And I mean, come on, look at that face. Like, she's so creepy, and I love everything about her. She's like a blessing, honestly. So, yeah. So drawing all this stuff is really, really fun for me because I love Mario so much. You know, and I'm sure that you guys have probably already gathered that, as I've drawn both Peach and Rosalina, and I have speed paints of them posted, so you can actually go back on my channel and watch those if you want to. But yeah, so I've drawn both of them, and Rosalina I think is probably like my best girl. You know, like, I love Peach, but Rosalina is so pretty, and she's like a little space princess queen, and I'm like, she's everything that I love. And the Lumas are so cute, and just everything. She's just my personal little Mario goddess, and I live for her. But yeah. But as far as like fan characters go, these are really speaking to my heart, and I just I have to say that working on this one, if you didn't know, I did draw Bowsette. I did both skin tone versions because I liked both versions, and I really like, ultimately the darker skin tone spoke to me on a much more intense level. But I think like the official fan design had her with just like white skin blonde hair, so that was kind of like, I felt like that was like the default that I had to do, even though I think that both versions are like really good. So I just made 2 alternate versions, and you can view those on my Twitter, so you can go and check all that stuff out. I do have NSFW versions available. They're not like, you know, hardcore or anything like that, because I don't really draw anything hardcore, but there are technically not safe for work versions, and they are on my Patreon. So if you would like to see them, you can go and head over to my Patreon and pledge to the NSFW tier, which is the $5 tier. And excuse me. And yeah, you can pledge to that to gain access to that. Both versions are posted, so yeah, cool beans. My Patreon was like flagged for adult content. It was flagged before I even posted the adult content, so I'm honestly really confused about what happened there. I don't know, because literally everything I ever posted to Patreon up until now has been safe for work. So I don't know why they decided to flag it, but they did, and they told me that I could appeal it if they made a mistake, but there was no point in appealing it, because I was planning on posting some not safe for work content like in the near future, so I was like, not a big deal. So I don't know exactly how it works. I feel like they've been doing it a lot to other anime artists as well, because I think some of the artists that I follow also have run into that issue where they're like, their account was flagged as adult for no reason and they don't know why. But basically the only tier, like the only patrons that see the not safe for work content will be the $5 and up patrons. So basically, if you are not 18, which I feel like most of my following that do pledge to me or like support me are over 18, but for those of you that aren't over 18, I don't exactly know how the rules on that work, but I know that there's a button that makes you verify if you are over 18. So I want to let you know that no not safe for work content is shown to anyone that is not in the NSFW tier. So if you are like, if you're just pledging like $1 or something and like you're under 18, I don't think it's a big deal if you go through there. But I mean, obviously, if you're not 18, please don't pledge to the NSFW tier, because that's bad news bears. Alright, like, I don't want to get in trouble for that. But, you know, like, I want you to know that, like, most of the stuff I post is not NSFW stuff. So, they just kind of flagged it, and yeah, just letting you know, heads up. I mean, you obviously you do not have to pledge to my Patreon I mean, honestly, it's not a huge deal. Patreon is nice, but it's, you know, it's not like getting my sole income from Patreon. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to do it. But it's just kind of like the in-between, like helping out a few bucks here and there. So you can totally support me in other ways. You do not have to become a patron by any means. I'm not sure how exactly I'm going to go about the NSFW stuff, because I do want to sell prints, like NSFW prints, but I don't know, because I do want it to be like Patreon content, but in order to sell it as prints, it has to be like posted somewhere to reach a wider audience. So I don't exactly know what I'm going to do about that yet. So for right now, all of that stuff is strictly on my Patreon. And I do plan on posting more stuff at some point. I'm gonna try and, you know, push myself to do more of that content. Even though, like, a lot of what I do is not, I don't really do any hardcore stuff. I don't really do a lot of hentai. You know, I might try it here and there, but for the most part, it's not what I enjoy drawing. I much rather draw, like, pinups and stuff. So that's basically what I am doing. That's kind of like how I approached, oh god, no. I guess I'm just gonna have to do it by hand. That's kind of like how I approach it, you know, it's just more pinups than anything. But yeah, that's just what's going on, so it's a heads up. You can support me. I do have a Ko-fi account. You know, it's just like a tip jar. It's not a big deal or anything either. I would honestly much prefer it if people would actually support me by either commissioning me or buying my adoptables or purchasing stuff from my shop. You know, those are the ways that I prefer people to support me, because I feel less guilty about it, you know, because I can't always create content, you know, because real life sometimes dictates what you can and can't do. So I don't want to really feel that huge pressure of having to do something all the time, or feeling guilty about not doing something in regards to a chip jar. I mean, if you want to do it out of the goodness of your heart, like, by all means, you can do it, but I really do, it's much more guilt-free for me if you guys just, like, buy my actual merchandise, and it makes me feel better because, you know, you're buying my stuff that I worked really hard on, so win-win, really. Yeah, so I think that's all I wanted to talk about. I really just wanted to keep my YouTube active, because, you know, things are a bit slow as I'm trying to catch up on all these trends and to-do lists and all of that cool stuff that is taking up all of my time. And I knew that this was going to take a long time to ink, and that I probably would not be, I might not do a speed paint, I'm not sure yet. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this was enjoyable and that you enjoyed listening to me ramble about video games and all of the things that I love. I really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It really means so much. Yeah, so if you really like this video, feel free to subscribe to be updated every time I post a new video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!